Division and strife are often seen merely as social or psychological issues, but there's a deeper spiritual dimension to them that we sometimes overlook. In many Christian teachings, such discord is not just unfortunate, but fundamentally satanic. This perspective is rooted in how Satan is depicted in the Bible as a force constantly working to sow discord and disrupt unity. The story starts right from the Garden of Eden, where Satan introduced the first conflict by tempting Adam and Eve, leading them to doubt and disobey God. According to the Bible, Satan's primary agenda is quite destructive. John 10:10 makes this clear. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. This scripture isn't just talking about physical theft or destruction, but extends to the stealing of peace, the killing of relationships, and the destruction of community harmony. When people engage in creating division or nurturing strife, whether knowingly or unknowingly, they align themselves with these satanic objectives. Interestingly, the issues of division aren't limited to large-scale conflicts. They can permeate as deeply as our religious communities. For instance, differences in denomination can lead to significant discord among believers. This is troubling because it contradicts the unity that God desires for His people. I've seen how arguments over denominational preferences can lead to aggression and hostility, which only serves to fracture the church further. It's important to remember that salvation is not tied to our denominational labels or specific church practices. The Bible emphasizes that only through Jesus Christ can we be saved, as 1 John 5 verse 12 says, "He who has the Son has life. He who does not have the Son of God does not have life." This message underscores that the core of our faith should be our relationship with Christ, not the particularities of our church affiliations. As followers of Christ, our focus should be on fostering harmony and understanding among all believers, regardless of our differences. This approach not only aligns with the teachings of the Bible, but also actively counters the divisive strategies considered satanic. By promoting unity, we affirm our commitment to the principles of love and peace that Jesus Himself exemplified and taught. It's an interesting thing how often we get caught up in the labels we attach to our faith, like whether someone is Baptist, Pentecostal, or Lutheran. My pastor once shared a story with me that really put things into perspective. He talked about a sermon he heard where people arrived in heaven and immediately started asking for their denominational section. "Where's the Baptist section?" one might ask. Another would inquire about the Pentecostal spot. But here's the thing. In heaven, there aren't any sections divided by denomination. There's just one united body of believers, all together, no divisions. This story from my pastor really makes you think about the unity we're supposed to have. The Bible tells us quite clearly that our faith in Jesus is what brings us life, not our church membership or doctrinal differences. We spend so much time on earth focusing on what makes us different from one another. But in the grand scheme of things, these differences are small compared to what we share through Christ. Now, when we let these small differences divide us, we're playing right into Satan's hands. He loves nothing more than to see us arguing over the details and forgetting the big picture of God's love and salvation. We're told that Satan comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And what better way to do that than to sow discord among God's people. It's vital that we don't let ourselves become tools of division. Instead of being hostile towards one another because of different beliefs or practices, we should be embracing each other in love. The commandment Jesus left us was to love one another as He has loved us, which is a love that transcends all boundaries and disagreements. Furthermore, it's not just in church that Satan tries to sow discord. He's always looking to tear apart any form of relationship that reflects God's unity and love. Marriages, families, and friendships are all targets for his destructive plans. Those who engage in breaking these bonds, whether they realize it or not, are aligning themselves with evil actions, much like the discord sown by Satan in the Garden of Eden. In my many years being part of a church community, I've seen this destruction firsthand. Families torn apart, friends turned against each other. All because someone decided to stir up trouble instead of spreading peace. These actions don't just hurt people in the short term. They have lasting impacts that can carry on for generations. For instance, consider the impact on children when their parents are constantly at war with each other. Or think about how deep the cuts can go when someone tries to sabotage a friend's marriage. These are the kinds of actions that not only break hearts, but can also leave a legacy of bitterness and distrust. I remember a situation where a mother, constantly bad, mouthed her son-in-law to her daughter, trying to stir up trouble in their marriage. It was heartbreaking to see, especially since the couple had so much potential for happiness if left to grow together without interference. And it's not just mothers or fathers. I've seen brothers and sisters who can't stop themselves from turning every family gathering into a battleground. It's like they thrive on the chaos, not realizing or caring that they're tearing their family apart at the seams. That's why it's so crucial for us to watch our actions and the words we say. We must be builders of bridges, not bombers of bridges. Every word of encouragement, every act of kindness, every moment of understanding contributes to a stronger, more loving community that reflects God's love. Let's choose to love. Let's choose to be peacemakers. Let's look past our differences and focus on what brings us together. After all, if we're all going to be together in heaven without any denominational lines dividing us, shouldn't we start practicing that kind of unity right now, right here on earth? It's heartbreaking when we see people intentionally tearing down the relationships of others. If you've ever found yourself hoping for the downfall of someone's marriage, or even actively trying to break one up, it's important to recognize that these actions are deeply harmful. Such behavior aligns with what many would call evil, and it's often described as being influenced by satanic forces because it disrupts and destroys the bonds that God intends for us to cherish and uphold. When men chase after married women, or women pursue married men, it's not just a small misstep, it's a major moral error. The Bible is clear on this. Meddling in someone else's marriage is off limits. If a person is married, they are off limits, period. It doesn't matter if the married person approached you first. The moral stance should be firm. Engaging with a married person in such a way goes against the grain of everything wholesome and right. Consider this. Building a relationship on the ruins of another's marriage sets a shaky foundation for the future. How can one expect blessings in their own marriage if it began by harming another? This is a tough question, but it's one that needs addressing. The likelihood of a pattern repeating itself, where fidelity is compromised, is high. If they left someone for you, what stops them from leaving you for another? God does not bless actions that harm others. It's not just a matter of personal ethics. It's a spiritual principle. When we engage in or condone such actions, we're not walking in the path that God has laid out for us. The Bible speaks against these behaviors in Proverbs 6, chapters 16 to 19, which states, "There are 6 things the Lord hates, 7 that are detestable to him: a proud look, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked schemes, feet that rush into evil, a false witness who pours out lies, and a person who stirs up conflict in the community." The issue extends beyond personal relationships to communal ones, such as within a church. Some people seem to thrive on drama, enjoying the discord they can sow among fellow believers. This isn't just unhelpful, it's directly opposed to what the Bible teaches. God despises the act of sowing discord among brethren. Engaging in gossip, spreading rumors or lies, or even talking negatively about others can fray the fabric of our church family. If you find yourself caught up in discussions that involve gossip or hearsay, especially those you cannot verify, it's wise to step back. The best practice is not to spread further what you've heard. Engaging in such talk can quickly lead you down a path of becoming a busybody, meddling in others' affairs without cause. 1 Timothy 5:13 warned us against this very behavior. Besides, they get into the habit of being idle and going about from house to house. And not only do they become idlers, but also busybodies who talk nonsense, saying things they ought not to. This passage is a clear directive to keep our conversations fruitful and uplifting, steering clear of idle chatter that can harm others. It's a matter of fostering a spirit of love and understanding, not just in our families, but in our broader communities as well. When our interactions are characterized by genuine concern and respect, we contribute to a healthy, harmonious environment. We should be guardians of our relationships, nurturing and protecting them from harm. Hebrews 12:14 calls us to a higher standard. Make every effort to live in peace with everyone and to be holy. Without holiness, no one will see the Lord. This is not just about avoiding conflict, but actively pursuing peace and unity in our actions and attitudes. Breaking up a relationship or marriage, whether directly or indirectly, is not something any of us should be involved in. Actions that destroy relationships are destructive and contrary to the teachings of Christ. As believers, we're called to be peacemakers, builders of bridges, not the destroyers of them.